Right, we are covering how to easily create a professional looking CMA report. And this class is incredible because we are utilizing all of Prospector Plus for this training. We are going to be taking a look at the CMA options within Prospector Plus. But before we get to that juicy bit of it, that portion of the training today, I did want to kind of walk you through some different ways that you can run and look for your comparables for your comparative market analysis report. So you take your subject property, you make sure you do your due diligence, you get the stats on, beds and baths and square footage of your subject property, and then, obviously the vicinity. So, you want to look in that same neighborhood, that same neck of the woods to find those comparables. And I'm going to show you some different searches in the system that'll help you get there. So the first one is this quick search here. The standard search is actually an extension of the quick search. So it's actually pretty cool because any type of criteria, anything that you can think of that you would need to search by, you can actually find it within the standard search criteria form. And then I'm actually going to show you some advanced searching options. And these are super amazing, especially the interactive map. It is a personal favorite of mine for CMAs, and especially the CMA package. And then we will get to the main course, which is going to be the CMA options. And Prospector Plus really is incredible. There are so many things available to you within the CMA options, and I'm so excited to show you. Really quick before we get there, all webinars are recorded. So currently I am recording this, and you will receive this in your email inbox within an hour or about an hour after the class or the training concludes, okay? So make sure that you keep checking your email so you can get a copy of this recording. All right, and I will give you any contact information you may need. If you don't receive it, I'll give that to you at the end of the class, so just hang tight with me. All right, let's go ahead and get started. We got a lot to cover. So now you should be looking at my MLS dashboard, hopefully. And from here, we're actually going to pop directly into Prospector Plus because everything that we need to cover is going to be in our main MLS system. So let me just go ahead and get my little handy dandy guy here. It's going to be this very first one right here in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And what's awesome is you're going to see it's going to open it up in a whole new tab for me. So anything that I am looking at currently in my dashboard, it'll stay there. Nothing will be interrupted. It's in a whole new tab. And then, oh, look at this. We have some broadcast notices. So make sure you guys are keeping an eye on these. We definitely, try to keep you up to date as possible with everything that's going on, whether it be system maintenance or it's a really awesome new update that we want to let you know about. So, make sure you're reading these. Okay. Now, I'm going to go ahead and come on to my Prospector Plus dashboard. And from here, because our first stop is going to be that quick search, I'm actually going to come up in the upper left-hand corner, and I'm going to open up that menu for my searches. This is my searches tab. And really quick, before we pop on down here to the quick search, I did want to let you know that for your saved searches and your saved hot sheets, which that is a wonderful class. So if you wanted to learn more about hot sheets, make sure you keep an eye on a stats and trends class in the calendar. That's where we cover this. But what I was trying to tell you is that these two here can actually hold up to 250. So you can save 250 searches and 250 hot sheets. And then for your recent searches, you can actually look up to the last 20. So the last 20 searches that you ran in the Prospector Plus system, they are going to be housed here. So if you get, logged off accidentally, you forget to save your search, you can find it here as long as it was within the last 20. All right, let's go ahead and come down here to quick. I'm going to click on quick. I don't know. I did that like I think the first time I taught this, and so I just do it every time now. You know, one of those little quirky things. Okay, so this is my quick search criteria form. So you'll see here at the top, I have a couple of different tabs. I have general criteria, which is what we're currently looking at. And then I have an additional criteria tab. So if I click on that, which I just did, you can actually see that there is a lot of different options that I have to choose from. So if your client's looking for a horse property, pool, these are all of the different, things that you can kind of search through, scroll through them. There's so many. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the general criteria tab, and I wanted to show this to you. So we're not going to run any searches in here, but I did want to show you what's available to you, especially if you're needing to run a very quick search where you have, a very specific set of criteria. You're already set. You just need to kind of pop it in there and get your results. So currently you'll see I have my residential property type already pre-selected. This is a default that I have set up in the admin preference settings. So if we have time, we will take a look at that towards the end of the training. Down here are the property subtypes, so I can choose from any of these. Even further down the page is the statuses. Right below the statuses is this little blue hyperlink. It says special listing conditions. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to open it up. It's going to be a little window, as you can see. And I wish I could make it bigger. I always try to do that, but it doesn't let me. But I can actually run a quick search based upon any of these special listing conditions. And it's not just to include them. I can also exclude them. And, you might be thinking, well, what if I need to exclude all of them? I'm only looking, for a normal resale property, normal resale home. You actually don't have to come through here and click exclude for every single one. That is, we're not trying to waste your guys' time. We totally get it. But a quick way to kind of do that is to come down on the include side and click on include none. And then you can go ahead and click OK in the upper left-hand corner to save it. When you do that, you'll actually see that now you're running a search that includes none of those special listing conditions. So that's a little time saver tip for you. I'm going to go ahead and clear it out though, because we're not running any searches. All right. Right below the special listing conditions is the area and districts. So if you have a specific area that you know of, for example, this is the pocket area of Sacramento. I love to use it in a lot of examples for trainings. It's just such a nice little neighborhood. But for example, if you needed to run a search for multiple areas of Sacramento, do you have to come in here and type Sacramento in over and over again to pull the different codes? No. That's going to take you a lot of time, right, to type this over and over again. Even if you copy and paste it, it's going to take you forever. So instead of you having to come through here and select one at a time and then retype Sacramento, what you can actually do, let me just erase that. I don't know why it wasn't letting me. You can actually click on this icon off to the right-hand side. It says select areas. If I click on it, it's going to open up another one of those little windows here. And you'll see that on the left-hand side, I go ahead and I come down here, I look for my county, Sacramento, and then it'll actually populate the different areas of that county off to the right-hand column here. And then I can scroll through here and I can select the different areas I'm needing to search, to search by. So if I need this one, for example, and this one, and then maybe Sacramento Land Park, Curtis Park, I can select those and then click OK at the top here, instead of having to search, and typing it in manually over and over again. All right, I'm going to go ahead and cancel out. It's just, to kind of give you some quick time-saving tips here for the future. Below that is a price range. And so really quick, I do like to point this out. You don't have to put in a minimum value if you have a maximum value. So If your client, has a price cap of, let's say 300,000, for example, you don't have to come in here and put a zero, like through 300,000. You can just do either or both if you'd like, but you don't have to. Year built, you can see you have some different ones here, like build to suit, completed, never occupied. Down here, you can also do the ranges for the bedrooms and bathrooms. And again, you don't have to put in a minimum, if you have a maximum or vice versa. You have an option for bathrooms, full and partial, garage spaces. You can search by living area, which is going to be by square footage. Lot size is actually by square footage or acreage. It's up to you. Buyer financing and occupant type. So you'll see there isn't a whole lot going on in this quick search form, but it is enough for you to get the job done and to, pull up. So I think we have a question here from Tamara. Yes, so this is not a Cloud CMA class. This is a CMA options class through Prospector Plus. So that is what we're going to be touching base on after we kind of look at the different search options that we have available to us to pull up the comparables. I hope that was a good enough explanation. I apologize. So let's actually go ahead now and let's look at that extension. So we're going to go up to searches one more time and come down to the standard search. It's going to be right below the quick search. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the standard search. You're going to see we still have those same tabs available to us here at the top. It's still going to look very similar as I scroll down here. We still have the special listing conditions, the areas and districts, price, year built, but you'll see as I'm coming down here, now there's a little bit more to this standard search. I can search by cities. I can search by zip codes, subdivision. You have school districts, status and change dates. You can search by the listing, agent IDs and office IDs. Same with the buyers, public remarks, private remarks. So any of that, that special verbiage that we like to use when we're putting in our listing, we can kind of search by that as well. Buyer financing was still, kind of rolled over there. Days on market, the listing association. So you can actually see there is a lot more to the standard search form. So you can also use this to kind of come in here and be like, okay, the bedrooms on the subject property are, 3 bed, 3 bath. So you can come in here and you can put in a range to pull up those different auctions for your comparables. But I want to show you another really awesome way to do this. And this is actually what's going to kind of roll us into the CMA auctions themselves. So that's going to be the interactive map. And really quick, I do want to cover with you before we jump into the interactive map and we actually pull up those comparables. I did want to show you some other really cool advanced searches that we can run that are, they definitely work. They're definitely good searches. And we'll kind of go over some of the pros and, and why or why not you should use it when you're kind of trying to pull up a CMA package. So for example, for the custom search, so we talked about the quick, we talked about the standard search. And the standard, again, is just an extension of the quick. Let's actually go into the custom. Let's just take a quick look at it and see what it looks like here. So you'll see that you can actually, you'll see that it's kind of all over the place, right? There's counties, there's listing numbers, and this is all above these statuses. But the reason why this is set up this way is to show you I've actually customized this search criteria form to my liking. So that's why you'll see the counties and the listing number, because I want to show you can actually set up the custom search however you want it to look. It's all, the ball is in your court. So in the upper right-hand corner here, let me go ahead and get my little highlighter so I can kind of show you. Right up here, this is actually where you'll go to set up that custom search criteria form. So let me go ahead and just erase that really quick, and let's take a look at it. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. Again, it just says Revise Custom Search Setup. And when I pull that up, you'll see that now we are looking at the custom search preferences. So you can actually customize, how that search criteria form is going to look. So if you want to set up a custom search specific for, finding comparables for your subject property, you can definitely do so. Off to the right-hand side, this is everything that I currently have selected. So what you're seeing here from top to bottom is also what you're going to see from top to bottom on the previous page that we were just on. On the left-hand side, this is all of the fields that are available to me to choose from that I can add in and kind of customize to my liking. And then in the middle here, these, I like to call them the action buttons because they're going to perform those actions for you. So they're going to add them, they're going to remove them, they're going to, kind of resituate them by moving them up and down on the list. So it's totally up to you. Again, this is just how I have mine set up. So you can always go into your custom search and set it up however you'd like, especially, if this is something that appeals to you. So you'll see, remember, the counties and the listing numbers were the first two ones. So that's how you'll know this is exactly how I currently have it set up. If I wanted to move counties down, I can just go ahead and click on it, make sure it's highlighted yellow, and then I can come down here in the middle on my where the action buttons are, and I can click move down, so I can move it down. So just remember, these are your action buttons in the middle, and then off to the left-hand side is everything that you have available to you to choose from. And then once you're satisfied with how the custom search is set up, go ahead and save it in the upper left-hand corner. Once it's saved, it lets you know that your changes have been saved, and then you can go back to the search, which is right underneath the General tab. I'm going to go ahead and go back to the search, and then you'll see I moved my counties down, so here the counties have moved. And anytime that I want to kind of adjust it and change it, I can always go back in and do so. There isn't like a limited amount of times you can do it in a day or anything like that. Okay, so that was your custom search. And obviously, if you have a very specific set of criteria and you only want the form to look a certain way, this would be the search I would recommend for you to use. All right, let's go back into the searches tab again here, and let's come down to radius, because this is another really big one that we hear questions about in regards to pulling up a CMA package and finding those comparables, because essentially what you're doing is you're placing a distance, a radius around the subject property to pull in those comparables. So you'll see here, I can actually search for listings within a radius, and it ranges from a quarter to half to 3/4, all the way up to 20 miles. And you'll actually see that you can either put this radius around a specific address, like your subject property, a listing number. So if you have a specific listing number, you can type that in here, or an APN. Just make sure you select the county first, and then you type in the APN number. Let's go ahead and take a look at this address search, because I wanted to kind of talk to you about a couple of things here that's really cool. So for example, just to kind of get your wheels turning, obviously we're going to be focusing on, finding comparables and pulling up those CMA options, but you'll actually see that with these radiuses, not only can you pull up comparables and kind of find, maybe some active and some pending and some sold properties within a 1/4 mile of your subject property, just to kind of get you thinking. Imagine if you do have a client that is looking to live within, maybe let's say a mile of a hospice or a hospital, because they have a certain condition, or they have a family member that's, ill and they want to be close to them. Another thing to think about is maybe they want to live within 5 miles of work, or they have to live within a quarter mile of their favorite coffee shop because they have an addiction to coffee, as many of us do. So these are just some ideas for you to kind of think about. We're not going to run any searches, but I did want to point out that this radius search is good for finding comparables. Again, like I said, I want to show you that interactive map in a moment because that's my favorite, and that's, and I feel like it's just all inclusive, especially when it comes to finding comparables, but this is another really good one. And we're not going to really cover anything down the page here because, again, this is also an extension. This is just like the standard search, except for this top portion here with the radius because it's specific to this type of search. Okay, so we talked about radius. Let's go ahead and pop into address search. So for the address search, you can actually come in here, and if you have a specific set of addresses that you want to search by, you can type them in directly. Right underneath the address right here, it says additional addresses. You can click on that. It opens up this little window here, and you can actually, if I make it bigger, you can actually search by 10 addresses at a time. So that's just to show you something really cool. All right, and again, it's just similar to the standard search. It has all the same fields except for it does have this special address section at the top. I'm going to go back into add the searches tab, and let's talk about listing number. So if you have some specific listing numbers that you want to search by, if you have like a buyer's tour or anything like that, you can type them in here. Make sure you separate them by commas, or you can type them into the individual boxes themselves. Just keep in mind that if you are wanting the results to be sorted in the specific order that you type them in, make sure you check this box right below listing numbers, okay? It says sort results as entered. And then let's go back into the searches tab one more time, and let's take a look at the APN. The APN search allows you to just run a search by the APN. Make sure you select your county, and then you can go ahead and click search. Okay, and that's your assessor's parcel number. Typically, you'll see that on a lot of land and lot properties, but just kind of, giving you a little heads up on that one. All right, so now for my favorite search. Let's actually go into the interactive map, and let's run a search finally. So I'm back in the searches. I'm going to come down to interactive map, and I'm going to open up the interactive map. Oh, and remember I was telling you about that pocket area of Sacramento. This is actually that pocket area here. All right, so let's go ahead. I already have my subject property, so I want to place a pin on it. And what I'm going to do that is I'm going to come right up here in the upper left-hand corner of the map, and it says that I can center in on a listing number or a location. I'm going to go ahead and click on it, and I'm going to type in that address. So it is 9 Bethel Court. I wonder if this is a pocket area. I can't remember, but it's right here. It says 9 Bethel Court, Sacramento. Go ahead and pull it up. Okay, no, it's not. And then you'll see that when you actually type in a specific address, you actually get this marker, this red marker here on the property. And so you can either remove that marker, you can actually rename it. So for example, if you're ever going to do a buyer's tour and you want to meet up at your, your favorite Starbucks that's in the same neighborhood, and you guys are all going to carpool together, you can actually rename that specific place when you're going to add it to your route. And then you can even pull up a neighborhood report. But obviously, if you want some more information about the interactive map, and because we actually have a class that we actually dedicate exclusively a whole hour just for the interactive map. So definitely check for it in our calendar. But the big one here is right down here. Oh, you can actually hone in on a specific address in the interactive map search, and you can add a radius around it. So it's like you're getting the radius search, but you're visually seeing it on the map, right? It's incredible. All right, so that's one way to kind of find some comparables, is just, popping in a radius around the subject property. But we actually have another really cool feature here. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out. This is my subject property, and again, just to give you some background information, it is a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom home. It closed at around I think it was like 512,000, and it's approximately 2,200 square feet. So we are going to be looking for some comparables in the region. And like I said, we can click on here and we can put in a radius to kind of find some properties, or we can use our drawing tools. So at the top of the map here, and you'll see my cursor is kind of hovering over it, it says draw. If I click on that, I actually have some drawing tools here that I can use. But before we get in there, I actually want to show you what the map looks like with all of the results kind of being displayed. So there isn't too much going on, which is good. But typically when you're more zoomed out like this, then you see a bunch of stuff all over the map. Oh, we are in the pocket area. Yay. Okay. So let's go ahead and come into our search criteria, add in our different statuses that we want to search by, and then we'll go ahead and utilize those drawing tools to hone in on our search results, on our comparables. In the upper right-hand corner here of the map, there is a little menu that says search criteria. If I click on it, it'll actually pull out this little side menu here. And currently at the top, you'll see that my criteria summary, I'm currently looking at residential properties, and currently I'm only looking for active status, which is these green pins here on the map. That's why everything was green. And remember, the reason why we see this red marker is because this is my subject property, and I don't want to remove that because I want to know where it's at on the map, right? Let's go ahead and come down here, and let's open up this statuses section, because when you're looking for comparables, you're not just looking for active properties in relation to your subject property. You need to have a range of statuses to get a good gauge of what could be that range that the property could sell for. So currently we'll have active selected. Let's go ahead and check pending, and now you'll see there are some blue markers showing up on the map. And then let's go ahead and check closed as well. And currently I have mine going back to December 30th of 2021. I'm going to go ahead and leave it as is. I think that's okay. We're just kind of showing you an example here. And then I'm going to go ahead and close out the statuses here. So now I'm searching for not only active properties, but pending and closed as of the end of December of last year. And then any other features I want to come in and add, let's do that, because remember, my subject property is a 3-bed, 3-bath. So I want to go ahead and look for properties anywhere from 2 beds to, let's say, 4. And for bathrooms, let's go ahead and just do, we'll do the same thing, 2 to 4. Because I need to find properties that are similar to my subject property. Coming down here, the square footage of the subject property again was about 2,200. So let's look for the living area. Here it is. Open that one up. And we're going to go ahead and put in a range. So let's go ahead and do like 2,000 square feet through, that took away some of our, a lot of our results actually. Maybe we could do like 1,800. Let's do that. Let's try it and see what we get. Do 1,800. Okay, a little bit more. Through, let's do about 2,400 and see what happens. Okay. And then, you can go even further to add in more criteria if you'd like, if you want to put in like, a range of a year built, especially if your subject property is like a newer home or, what have you. But I think I'm good with just putting in the beds, the baths, and the square footage range. Okay. So we have our statuses, our beds, our baths. We're all set. And I can actually view what I've selected here at the top in that criteria summary. All right. I'm going to go ahead and close that out. And now it's time for us to draw. So I can come in here, like I said, I can click on the subject property. I can add in a 1/2 mile radius, right? But let's say, for example, let me go ahead and oh, there it is. That's so cool. I did not know that. So when you put a radius from the marker, it draws the shape for you too. That's awesome. It puts it in the shape. I'm gonna go ahead and close that out. So you can do it that way, which it did work in this situation. And I do apologize. I did try to give that disclaimer at the beginning of class. I don't know if you can hear the garbage trucks in the background. I do apologize. Okay. So I did draw that 1/2 radius, and it didn't interfere with the freeway, but the reason why we do try to strongly suggest that you at least pull your results in the map view is because when you put a specific radius around a property and you can't visually see, let me do like a mile. Yeah. So if you're pulling like a mile radius, for example, and you're doing it in the radius search, which was the one that we took a look at with the radius where it goes up to like 20 miles, you can't see if that radius is going over a major freeway or over, into an undesirable neighborhood, that there won't be any good comps for your subject property. So that's something to keep in mind when you're coming in here and you're looking for comparables for your subject property. Make sure to at least pull your results into a map view, or at least look up those properties to see where they're at on the map, making sure they're not crossing over, some railroad tracks or over a major freeway like this, just because they might not be good comps and you just don't know that because you're not seeing where they're located on the map. Okay. I am going to go ahead and just kind of delete this circle, and all you do is when you do draw a shape here, you can come up here and click on edit. If you're not seeing edit on your end, it's because you haven't drawn anything yet. You're only going to see this edit button here if you've drawn a shape on the map, so keep that in mind. Okay, and then to delete the shape, you just actually click on the X in the upper right hand corner. So now it's gone, and then more of those results will populate. If I wanted to choose a different drawing tool though, and let's kind of zoom in a little bit more, I'm going to just kind of draw a shape in this general area, and then we're going to pull some comparables from, the properties that pull up. So I'm going to click on draw one more time. Let's go ahead and do the point-to-point polygon here. It looks like a triangle. And then I can actually, never mind. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw a shape, just kind of stick around in the same neighborhood here. And all you do to draw the shape is you literally just click on the points that you want. You don't have to left click and drag. It's actually a lot simpler. That's why I love it, because you don't have to have any artistic capabilities. And so I'm just going to go along Rush River Drive here. We already see what's available to us, so I'm just going to try to stick to this general. I know my drawing, my shape is all off, but it's okay. Okay, and then in order for the shape to stop following you, you do have to go to the original handle and click on it. And these little, like this white square, for example, in the interactive map, we call it a handle. So if I click on it, then you'll see the shape stop following me. And now it looks like we have 10 results. And where I'm seeing that at is actually right here. So you'll see I just drew over it with my highlighter. it says there's 10 that are mapped. So these are these 10 results here. Anytime that you draw a shape, you are hiding all of the results that are not included in that shape, okay? So just keep that in mind. You're not deleting them. They're not going to be gone forever. They're just hidden because you're focusing on what's inside of your shape. All right, let's go ahead now and let's pull up our results so we can get through and set up our CMA options. So from here, now that I have my results set up, I'm going to come up in the upper right-hand corner of the map, and I'm going to click on Displays. When I do that, I can actually select a different way to pull up my search results. And so personally, I love the one-line grid. So I'm going to go ahead and click on one-line grid. And now you're going to see those 10 results are going to pull in the one-line grid for me. So obviously, when you're pulling comparables, you want to make sure you're doing your due diligence. You're wanting, you want to come in here and read through, the private remarks, the public remarks, the showing us, all that great stuff. Make sure the beds and bathrooms and square footage, are they match up, and you're kind of doing all your research. For the purposes of today's training, I'm just going to go ahead and select some and be like, okay, yeah, this one's good. This is a good comp. And this is a good comp. So I'm just going to go ahead and use these. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to go directly into the CMA options. So I have these 3 selected, and I'm going to go ahead and come up here in the upper left-hand corner of the screen. It's right above where it says Search Results, and I'm going to click on CMA. You'll see it kind of looks like a 2-column, I want to say it's like a 2-column comparison icon, but I don't know. A book. Okay, it's like a book. So I'm going to go ahead and click on CMA. And then now you're going to see we're on our CMA options page. So now we're at the main course, guys. I know you've been waiting this whole time. I hope you weren't holding your breath. Okay, now in the middle of the screen, you'll see here that you can actually select from a list the different CMA options. You have a certain format that you can select from, and then you actually have access to Cloud CMA, which is one of our third-party, programs that is also a different way of kind of setting up your CMAs. It's wonderful. I do suggest if you want to take a class on Cloud CMA, we do offer it. Please check the training calendar. It's an awesome, awesome training. But we're actually just going to focus in today on our CMA options in Prospector Plus. So the CMA Portrait and the CMA Landscape, these are the very first 2 options. They are actually the exact same report. They just display the information in either portrait or landscape style. So it's kind of like, do you prefer hamburger or hot dog style? Kind of like that, right? So I usually go back and forth. I only show one on each training. So let's actually look at the CMA Portrait today. So I'm going to go ahead and click on CMA Portrait. I'm going to leave it as PDF format. That's better. And then in the upper right-hand corner, I always do that. I'm actually going to click on the Go button, and it has a little icon of a gear. I'm going to go ahead and click on that. And then it's going to open it up in a whole new tab for me. And here is that CMA Portrait Report. So you'll see it actually gives you the listings as of today's date and the time. It has a little summary breakdown for you. It has them separated by status, and then it gives you those report averages at the bottom. And even further down, this is so exciting, you're branded. So you can print this out, you can email it, you can download it and save it to your computer. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see I have the little download icon and the printer icon, and it's branded, So you'll have your agent photo there, your information, and your office information, okay? It's wonderful. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and exit out of this tab. We're going to be back on our search results. I'm going to click on CMA again in the upper left-hand corner. And then we just took a look at CMA Portrait, right? So I told you portrait and landscape You know, they're pretty much the same, just the way that they're laid out is a little bit different. Now, let's look at the CMA 2 line. So I'm going to go ahead and click on CMA 2 line, leave the format as is, and then I'm going to click on Go again in the upper left-hand corner. Click on Go. It's loading. Give it a second. Take a drink of my water. One moment. And so now you'll see we're looking at the CMA 2 line report. Again, it is going to let you know it's the listings as of today's date, the time. It has that summary breakdown. It still separates them for you by status. It gives you those averages, and then it has the high, low, and median values there. Again, at the bottom, you are still branded. It's wonderful. And you can, again, download this to your computer, print this out, and keep it handy for yourself, okay? Now, let's go ahead and let's exit out of here again, this tab. We're going to do it again. Sorry, guys. We're going to click on CMA again from our search results page. Open up the CMA options. Open up our CMA options dropdown, and we're going to click on the 3-up comparison. So I'm going to go ahead and click on 3-up comparison. Click on Go in the upper left-hand corner. And here is the 3-up comparison. So personally, out of the few CMA options we've looked at so far, I do love this one because you have those photos, right? And those are just so wonderful. And then everything is laid out. It's columnized. You can, it's basically all being compared. You can see the information side by side. Kind of go through all those details. You're still branded at the bottom, and can't forget to mention that, but you still have that dated and that timed information in the upper left-hand corner. So we'll show you the date that it was prepared and the time with the summary. Again, you can download it, you can print it, and keep this in mind. If you email this out or you want to see some additional pictures, you can actually click on these blue hyperlinks here right below that photo, and it'll show you those additional photos without you having to print, a bunch of, PDFs of a bunch of photos. Save some paper. All right, I'm going to go ahead and close out of this one, close out of that tab, and we're going to do it one more time. I promise you, one more time. So we're going to go back into CMA, the upper left-hand corner. We are in our CMA options again, and then we're going to come down and we're actually going to click on CMA package. So I'm going to go ahead and click on CMA package, and now we're going to click Go. When I click Go, you're going to see it's going to be different. You're like, whoa, this is so different. Usually it's a PDF, but we're actually going to create a CMA package. I'm so excited. Okay, so the very first step here, it tells you, let's get started. So you actually need to provide the contact information for your client, and you can either create a new contact form or you can select from an existing if your client is already in the system. Let's go ahead and create a new client here. So I'm going to create my contact for my client. I've never put them in the system before. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to put Gabby G. And Gabby G is my client. She's the one that owns that property on 9 Bethel Court. For the status, we do have to leave her active, right? She's active because we're currently working with her. And then for the type, she is not a buyer. She's a seller, right? We're trying to pull some comps for her. And then, do I want her name to be on the report? I can provide company information if I had it for her. Typically, this is for vendors, but, you can display as. You can, decide how you want her name to be displayed. But I'm going to focus in more on these required fields. Like, for example, the group. I do have to assign her to a group. So let me go ahead and look for clients, check the box, click OK at the bottom, and now she's in my clients group. For the email, I do need to provide this because, I need to provide my contact email. This is for your client's email. So you want to make sure you're providing this so you can send them the information that, they may need if you ever need to email them any reports or anything like that. So let me actually just go ahead and I'll type it out. Ashley at MetroList. If there was anybody to CC, you can do that as well, or provide an alternate email. Let's come down here a bit. Initial contact date, that's fine. Any notes here at the bottom that you put in, just really quick, they're private. They're only for your eyes. So if you want to provide some notes on how you met, anything, any facts about your client, any facts about the house, you can put them in here and know that, have peace of mind that this information will only be for your eyes. Your client won't be able to see it, okay? Once you've added in all of the information on your client, you can actually come up in the upper right-hand corner of this little window and click on Save. It is the blue button. Once I click Save, you're going to see it's going to load us up and take us to our next step. So now we actually need to set up the different fields that we're going to be comparing with the comparables. Comparing with the comparables. Nice. On the right-hand side, you'll see this is currently everything I have selected. And this is something that I have set up as a default. So you'll actually see there is an option here to save it as a default. And so every time you come back, anything on this side will be automatically saved for you. So every single time you're running a CMA package, you won't have to set it up every single time. It'll save that way. Okay, so let me go ahead and erase all that jibber jabber. All right, so you'll see I have the address, bed, bath, like all of the basic stuff that you would need. If at any time you wanted to come in here and remove something, you can click on the X off to the right-hand side, and it'll put it back on the left-hand side here. Anything on the left-hand side is available to you to choose from. And then if you ever wanted to find a specific field, like if your subject property has a very special, feature or anything like that, you can go ahead and search for it and add it in to compare it and, kind of really add that value for your subject property. Because the end goal here is to kind of make those adjustments and such so that you can provide that price range, correct? Price point. Really quick, before we go into our next step, you do have some action buttons up here as well. You can add in any custom fields that are not available to you. You can remove all. You can undo the last, step that you made. If you accidentally delete the wrong thing, you can undo it. And then again, you have that Save as Default button, okay? And then all we're going to do from here, once we have our fields set up, is we're going to move from left to right along this top menu here. So we're on Fields. The next step is going to be Subject Property. So I'm going to go ahead and click on it. It's going to take me in here. And then now we actually need to add in the information for our subject property. So pretty much 9 times out of 10, you're going to have to do that as a new. You're going to have to enter in as new, which is manually inputting the information. I'm actually just going to load an existing one just because I am using an example from the MLS. It's not a real listing. But 9 times out of 10, you will have to do it manually because it's a property that hasn't been in the MLS, so on and so forth. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste that listing number really quick. Bear with me. If you have any questions, write them down, pop them into the questions box. Don't forget about them. And then I'm going to go ahead and load in that information. So here is the subject property. I love it. Once you infill that information, it kind of pops up. So 9 Bethel Court. Here's the photo. Here's the feature information. I can come down here. I can verify it, make sure, it's correct, so on and so forth. And then from here, now that we have our subject property information filled in, I can move on to the adjustment step. So I'm going to go ahead and click on adjustments. And then now this is actually where you can come in and make those adjustments. So you'll actually see right up here, there are the different comparable properties. So currently we're looking at the active property, but here is the pending. If I click on, this last one here, that's the one that's closed. So keep in mind, if you are planning to make any adjustments, you will need to do it separately for each comparable. And then what I love is it actually shows you the current property that you're working on in comparison to the subject property. So you can actually see the differences and such. If you were to make any adjustments here, just make sure that if it is a negative value, that you put that little slash sign in front of it, in front of the number. If it's a positive number, you don't have to put the plus sign. You can just type in the number, but I just wanted to let you know that. And then down here, it will show you in the bottom right-hand portion here of the screen, it will show you those adjustments and adjust the price for you. And just a really quick tip, it's not an industry standard for you to know how to use this area of the CMA package. You are not required to put any adjustments or anything like that. So don't feel like you have to use this portion. A lot of agents do not use this portion, but it is here for you. It is a tool that we provide, and we do like to cover it just in case. Okay. The next step here is going to be the analysis. So I'm going to jump into the analysis now. And then what I love, I just truly love this about the Prospector Plus system. It gives you this little gauge here. Down here, you can actually see here are those comparable properties. You can delete them if you'd like. You can actually add in another comparable listing. So if one of these is just a placeholder, you can always come back in and add in another one. And I'll actually show you really quick before we get out of here how to get back to this screen, because once you get out of here and you pull your CMA package, I promise you can come back to this. All right, and then in here, I'm just going to put some zeros, but this is where you would put in your suggested price or your suggested range, okay? And then, and I'm not an agent. I don't have any, I don't know how much things are worth. I can't, make those guesstimates or whatever. So I just like to put some zeros, And then the very last step is going to be to assemble the package after you've completed all of this. So let's actually go in and let's assemble our package. So I clicked on Assemble Package. You'll see that now we're looking at some of the package documents and reports. Here in the upper right-hand corner of this little section, you'll see that you can add in your own document. So if you wanted to come in here and pull one from your computer, you can do so. Just make sure you click Save. You can add in a report that is from the system. So you can actually type it in, or you can search for it. This is everything that is a part of it. And then you'll see that anything that is green, you already have included in your CMA package. Anything that is red, you can always add it in. There's some enhanced reports, standard, custom reports. You can definitely come in here and take a look at it, play around with it. And I do recommend that if you have never used this system before, or you wanted to kind of get your feet wet before you just dive right in, create a CMA package for yourself as an example, for fun, just so that you can kind of get an idea of it, a feel for it. I totally recommend that. And then you'll see down here, you can make some revisions to some of these documents. For example, your resume or your cover letter. You can even left click and drag off to the left-hand side here, and you can move these around in the different order that you want them to be placed. So if I want to move that up here, I want to left click and drag my agent resume towards the bottom, I can do so. You can even preview them, you can print them, and you can remove them. All right, so from here, this is where you'll come up in the upper left-hand corner, and you can print preview, so you can print it out, or you can email this out. Let's go ahead and click on print preview here so we can see what it looks like. When I click on print preview, here is the CMA package through Prospector Plus. It is incredible. So you'll see your office logo up here. It'll say comparative market analysis, the date that it was prepared. Here is the photo of the subject property. Here is my client. Here is my branding. I love it. Again, it shows you that wonderful branding. Here is my cover letter that I obviously need to work on. Coming down here, here is the subject property comparison. And what I love about this, it's like a 4-up, right? So we had our 3-up, right? But this is a 4-up because it actually shows you the subject property in comparison to the comparables. So it's just awesome. Coming down here, there are some statistical charts that you can add into your report. I love the map report. So it actually shows you the comparables in relation to your subject property. And then that information is down here below. Coming even further, here's my resume. Again, I know I need to work on it. Sorry about that. And then my office bio. So there are a lot of reports, a lot of documents that you can add in though. So I definitely recommend you go in there and take a look. Those are just a few. And then from here in the upper left-hand corner, again, you opened it up to do a print preview. So you can open it as a PDF, save it to your computer. You can print it out. Yeah, and you're all set. So I'm going to go ahead and close out of this tab. This was the CMA package. But let's say that you accidentally click on this home icon in the upper left-hand corner, or you exit out of the MLS entirely. And so you're back on your Prospector Plus, homepage, and you're like, oh man, I don't know how to get back there so that I can add in another comparable, because one of those comparables was just a placeholder. How you'll do that is you'll actually come up to the top here. You'll go into your Contacts tab. You're going to click on the very first option, Contact/Prospect. Open that up, and we're gonna go to our groups right here. So you're going to see there's a little area that says groups. I'm going to open up this list. I'm going to go into clients, because remember, my client Gabby, I put her in this specific group. So let's look for her. Here she is, Gabby G. So now I found her information. I'm going to go ahead and come over here, and you'll see that I have set up a CMA for her. If I come off to the right-hand side along her information here, so let me get my little handy-dandy highlighter. It's this little tiny icon or lettering. So you'll see that I was actually able to do a CMA for her. It does show that if there was a CMA done for that client in your contacts list. And I'm going to click on that. So I'm going to click directly on CMA. And then once I click on it, remember I told you I would take you back to this page. So that's how you can get back here, so you can delete your placeholder, or maybe these are all really good comps and you just want to add another one in, right? So you can just add another comp in and then reassemble the package, okay? I hope that really helped you guys. It was wonderful being a part of this training. Let's go ahead and go back to our checklist. Make sure we covered everything before we get out of here. We're right at time, so yay, I'm getting better. So we went ahead and we took a look at our quick search. We took a look at our standard search, which is the extension of the quick search. We took a look at some different options for our advanced searches and different ways that we can kind of use them. And, we did talk about that radius search, but preferably I love the interactive map for the CMAs. And then once we pulled our search results from the interactive map into the one-line grid display, we actually went in and we looked at all of the different CMA options. We built our CMA package, and I showed you how to get back there, just in case if you wanted to add in another comp, you wanted to delete one of the comps because it was just a placeholder, totally up to you. Again, this webinar is recorded, and let me give you some contact information just in case you don't get the recording, because I want to make sure that you guys have access to the recording. So here is our phone number with our extension and our email. I'm going to go ahead and end the recording now.